little things you can do is obviously check your invoices, first of all. Like that's the first thing. Most people never check their invoices, and there are so many billing errors. There's so many billing errors. Rogers Telecom or Telus in Canada here, they're notorious for errors, and they're pumping out so many invoices. They don't, doesn't bother them. So
the errors
check
in their
it,
favor,
Yeah, exactly. Make sure there's no errors. That's the first thing. So check your invoices. Compare the contract rates to what you said you were signing up for at the beginning, because there's a lot of creep that they kind of throw in there without telling you. Cross check everything to make sure it's matching your original contract.
Okay.
Bundling services is another way. Sometimes people have, they have a Zoom phone line, and then they have, they're using Teams or something. And so, there's a lot of different ways that you can bundle your phone lines and your services, or you have internet with one company and you have phone with another company. Bundling them, that can save you money. Eliminating duplicates. Like, you'll be amazed at how many businesses we go into and we find that they have phone lines that are coming into their building that are not being used by anybody. This was like at somebody's desk that left the company 6 months ago. And they're paying for that phone line. So there's like over duplication in terms of the phone lines they need, but even duplication of other services that they have. Negotiating better rates. Again, like a lot of this stuff it's pretty common, but it's not so common. You'll never get a better rate than when you say, I'm going to switch, and I've already talked to, if you're working with Rogers, you say, I've talked to Telus, and I'm switching. That's it. I'm switching, and all of a sudden you start getting phone calls, and you'll be surprised how they'll match that, because you think of these businesses just like your own business. It's a lot easier to keep a customer you already have than to get a new customer, and so they want to keep you at all costs.
Right.
A couple other things, maybe reduce the features that you have. Like, do you really need that free long distance to the United States when you haven't called the US in 3 years?
Right.
Look at those. Do you need all those, do you need a dedicated fax line when you haven't done a fax in 5 years?
Yeah.
Check your features, things like that. And then kind of last thing I'll say for telecom, there's many more, but voice over internet protocol, VoIP, that's becoming extremely popular now. And that can drastically reduce the cost of your telecom, switching over to a VoIP service.
Interesting. Yeah, those are plenty of examples. So yeah, this is great. And it sounds like it's really about just putting in the work of like actually reading the terms that you originally signed up for, getting on hold, calling the actual place to see if they can do a better job, negotiating it down, right? And so how does your group help, or how does your like team get involved? Like, do people kind of just send you all their documents and then you go through it? Like, how would that work?
Yeah, I can take you through the process. So, just like you said just at the beginning, like, it all seems pretty straightforward. It just got to put in the work. It's like, that's the problem with all of this, right? So that's where Scully Mitchell comes in. It's like, we do the work for you. One of our marketing slogan is, we sit on hold for you. So you don't have
great.
to. Granted, we have high-level reps that we talk to at all the major companies, and so we are ideally not on hold that long, but we have definitely contacts there. We do not take any commissions from any of the companies. We're just working for our clients and finding the best service for them. Obviously, we have reps with all the different companies, and we negotiate them against each other. But having those relationships really helps, because they want to keep Scully Mitchell happy as well, because they want us to keep bringing clients to them.
It's
Dennis Schooley, the owner of and founder of Schooley Mitchell, he has a saying that when Scully Mitchell calls, they sharpen their pencil. Because they're like, oh, you guys again. Okay, you're going to squeeze us. The process works when a company calls and they're interested in our service. We talk it through them, and then it starts off by signing a service agreement, and that service agreement basically just says it's a no-cost service agreement that says they want us to do the work. They're going to provide the documentation that we're needing. We're not going to take advantage of them, so we're not going to make any decisions, with their contractors without talking to them, and then they're not going to take advantage of us. And so that is, once we've done our negotiating, we ask them whether they go through us or not for the long term, that over the next 3 years, that if they're going to do any negotiating, that they do it through us, because we've already found their best Scully Mitchell rate that they're going to find.
Interesting.
And so once the service agreement is signed, then we need their invoices for the last 3 months. So we're just using Telecom for an example. Depending if it's a seasonal business, we may ask for longer. So ideally, the
Yeah.
more invoices we have, the better, because we are creating a baseline. We're creating an average of what you're spending a month, and the more we have. So if it's a golf course, obviously they have different expenses in the summer than they are
Right.
in the winter,
Yeah.
for an example. So generally, we get 3 months of invoices, and our analysts. So we have a team of analysts in Stratford. I'm based in Ottawa, and we have Scully
Okay.
Mitchell offices all over North America. But the whole company is based in Stratford, Ontario. We have 150
Cool.
office staff there, and so our analysts are based there. And so once I have all the invoices, we bring those to the analysts, and they spend kind of 6 to 8 weeks analyzing the
Oh
invoices,
man.
looking for all the things I've just mentioned right there,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
making sure there's no errors, making sure they're on the right, that they have the right features, they're not overpaying, things like that. And then they'll start negotiating with the current provider, and then they'll also negotiate with 2 competitors over this kind of six
Oh
to eight
wow.
week period.
Okay.
And the biggest, our biggest difference and the biggest kind of unfair advantage that we have at Scully Mitchell, rather than doing this yourself, is that we have 28,000 past clients over the last 30 years. And so
Right.
we kind of know what everybody else is paying. And
Oh, I
that
see.
really
Yeah.
leverages
You
us
can
when we go into
benchmark it. Yeah.
negotiations. So if you're, a $5 million company and you've got six or 10 phone lines coming in, and you've got this much internet, and you've got this many cell phones. Okay, we got a package. You're like, okay, we got 7 other businesses that are under our umbrella that we know are paying whatever,
Yeah.
$600 a month.
Yeah.
And we look at your bills and we're like, you guys are paying $1,200 a month. Like, why are
Yeah.
you paying so much? And so we bring
Yeah.
that to your provider, and we give these examples. We're like, hey, look, here are 4 companies paying this. I think we should be paying this,
Yeah.
and so that's our big negotiating tactic. And then we do that, and then we leverage that on top of that to other companies, the
Right.
competitors, who are extremely motivated to get our services and to get
Right.
a new client. And so we do that negotiating. Once we've finished with that, we created a value report. And so this value report includes your baseline, includes the prices that we found in those providers, and then we give a recommendation based on our findings of who to use going forward. And it'll show your savings based across your baseline, what we can find in a month to
Wow.
month or quarterly, depending on how you're billed.
Yeah.
Once we present that value report, we then you can basically decide if you want to move ahead or not. You want to move ahead, then it's a 3-year contract that we sign you up with, and you pay us 50% of the savings on the actual savings over the 3 years. And so
interesting. Okay.
we'll bill you as those savings come in.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is that over that 3 years, we don't just hang up and call in 3 years and say, hey, you want to renew? Over the next 3 years, we're going to become the face of your company with that provider. So you no longer need any billing questions. You never need to call that provider. That all goes through us. And we take care of that. And so that's one part of like your business that we take off your brain, we take off your team. Like, you don't need to analyze those invoices anymore because someone else is doing that. And over the next 3 years, your business is going to evolve, and we'll probably find more savings over the next 3 years. And you'll add more phone lines, but we'll add them cheaper. And so we're a tight partner over the next 3 years. And so after that, then you keep 100% of the savings.